Welcome to episode 2 of Canvas training. Today we're going to be talking about content creation. That means that we will be working on creating a page and an assignment, as well as talking about other content creation tools. Keep in mind that the purpose behind creation of content in Canvas is to design blended learning experiences that support mastery of content.
As we get started, one of the big things that we are hearing from teachers is wondering why we're keeping PowerSchool when we also have Canvas. And the reason for that is these two tools do two different things, okay? Canvas is our LMS, or our learning management system. This is the tool that we use to deliver content to students. That's that workflow of teacher assigns digital content, student turns digital content in. Canvas is also kind of like your online classroom. You can personalize it and make it built for you and your course. Canvas does not house student data, and Canvas does have a built-in gradebook, but PowerSchool is our official gradebook. We have to have a gradebook approved by the state, and that's PowerSchool. PowerSchool holds all of our student information. It houses data such as demographics, grades, attendance, all of those kinds of things. So they play two different roles, and we have to have both. You're probably thinking, why don't we just find one that does both, one company that does both? And we did that. That was Unified Classroom, and that did not go well. In all reality, there are not a lot that do that. There are very, very few that do both things all at once. So we have to keep both of them for the two different reasons there. So nothing changes with PowerSchool next year. We're just going to add on Canvas. So as we start thinking about using Canvas and creating content in there, the one thing to keep in mind in the big difference between Google Classroom and Canvas is, as a teacher, you have more control and more flexibility of how you create your course. It's not just like in Google Classroom where it's just the stream and you have very little creative power over it. In Canvas, you have a lot of creative power. You've got a lot of flexibility in where you put things, how things are organized. So to get started, you may want to think about how you want to build your homepage and your content. So let's take a look at a couple of examples here. This example of an 8th grade science course here at Concord Junior High. This is Mrs. Shelton's page. It's a really well put together page. You can see here on her homepage how she has organized it. She's got a little bit about herself in the course, and then these images down here are actually buttons that link to what these headings say. So this is how she has decided to create her course in such a way that everything is there for the students. Then down at the bottom, there are some of her contact information. Here is an algebra example, an algebra course. Kind of the same with the homepage. You've got the teacher info up there towards the top. And then as we scroll down, we've got some more buttons that are kind of themed. They're kind of fun for the kids to see, and it kind of goes along with the theme of the class. The final example I have is a social studies class. This teacher decided to do a welcome video on the homepage, and then he has his buttons down here. So they have the opportunity to kind of design it how they want it to look. So as we take a look at these three examples, these three teachers quite literally got a piece of paper out and drew out how they wanted to create their course. That way they had a rough draft or a plan. So if you look at this first one here, this is a 1st grade math class. This teacher decided to make buttons for the days of the week. And then when the student clicks on that, it takes them to the next page for that day and starts right in on the content. The bottom level of buttons here are just things they want to stay in place for all time. So like, here's a contact me button. There's extra practice, news, and then they had a Google Meet button right there. This is an example of a PE course. This teacher set it up by grade level. So they'd click on what grade level they are, and then it would take them into what the content is for that grade level. This example is probably more set towards a secondary level because it's just module view. The students would just open it up, and the homepage would be of the module list, and they would just click into where they left off or where they need to start. So you don't have to take time right now, but at some point it might not be a bad idea to draw out kind of how you want your course to look, just so you have a rough draft when you begin building.
So now it is time to log in. So you may have this slide deck. If you do, you can just click on this link, and if you don't, you're going to go to concord.instructure.com and you want to bookmark this site because you will visit it often. Once you do that, you can just log in with Google, and once you do that, you will see a screen that looks like this. This is your dashboard, and it may remind you a little bit of Google Classroom because all of the courses are on cards, similar to how Google Classroom has their dashboard laid out. It is a little bit different because they're divided up into published and unpublished courses. Yours are probably all unpublished right now, and your PowerSchool courses should be there actually right now. What we're going to do today, before we start a new course, I do want to point out one thing. If you go to the 3 dots next to your courses, you can actually change the name of your course. So this one is called DLR. You can erase that and you can give it a nickname. So in Unified Classroom, your names of your courses were given to you and you were kind of stuck with it. But now you can go ahead and change that to whatever you want. Let's go ahead and start a new course, and this is where we're going to do all of our work today. Part of the reason we do this is because year after year, this course will stay in your Canvas dashboard. Your PowerSchool courses will be archived at the end of each year. So we want to keep all your content in this course that you're creating today. Go ahead and click on Start a New Course, and you're going to give it a name. You could call it Master Course, Master 3rd Grade, Master 5th Grade, whatever you want to call it. But make it a unique name to you and create your course. Once you do that, then you'll see a screen that looks like this, and it says create a new module. Before we do that, I want to go back and talk about what a module is. So think of a time that you might have been in your room and you're gathering resources for the week, and maybe you have a file folder and you're gathering articles and different materials for your lesson, and you put all of those materials in a file folder. That file folder is your module. So your module holds all of the content for your lesson or for your unit. In Canvas, the module holds pages, assignments, quizzes, and that's what it's called in Canvas. What we're going to do today is we're going to create a module, and then we're going to put all of that content inside of the module. It doesn't matter if you create the module first or if you create the content first and then put it in the module. It's just like if you grab the file folder and you put all the content in it, or you grab the content and then you put it in the file folder. It doesn't matter which comes first. From this page here, you're going to go up to create a module, and you're going to give your module a name. Maybe it's week 1, maybe it's unit 1, maybe it's chapter 1. However you organize your content, but you're going to give it a name, and then you're going to add your module. And right now what we're going to do is we're going to create a page. So a page is where you're going to put your content. So think about maybe articles, videos, just different things that you do with your students can go on a page. It's not an assignment because that's a different type of activity, and it's not a quiz. It's just content that your students will interact with. So you're going to go here to the plus, and you're going to, on this drop down arrow here, you're going to go down to page, but you can see there's lots of options here. After you've created lots of different content, you're going to see the long list of things down here in this box. Right now we don't have anything because we haven't created anything for this module, but you're going to select new page and you're going to give it a name. And then you're going to add that item to your module. So now you have a blank module with a blank page. And in order to create that page, we need to click on it. And then we need to click edit. So here we are on your creation page. You're going to see this creation toolbar everywhere you go in Canvas. This is called the Rich Content Editor. You're going to see it on pages. You're going to see it when you create assignments. You're going to see it when you create quizzes and discussions. It's really just your creation toolbar for everything in Canvas. We're going to go over what all of the different elements of the Rich Content Editor are in just a second, and then we'll come back to this and we're going to do a little bit of creating. So here is sort of a breakdown of what the Rich Content Editor entails. You can refer back to this slide if you need to. It's got a lot of content in it. But what I want to point out are just a few areas here. Obviously, number one is the area where all of your content is going to go, and you can preview what you put in that box. Number two is the area where you can edit and format the page content, like the text. Three is the area where you're going to add text and format that as well. The number four area is where you're going to add media and links and images and documents. So you can pull from your Google Drive, you can add images from your computer, and you can add links and YouTube videos and all of those things. Five is adding external tools. So you're going to hear external tools a lot. You might hear LTI. This is where you can add things from outside sources. So think Flipgrid or YouTube can be added right from here, from that little plug. Number six is where you will go to format your paragraphs. So if you want to center your text or add bullets, things like that. If you go down to 7, 8, 9, and 10, you've got a couple of icons there that might be new. You access this little bar by clicking on the three dots. 7 is just getting rid of the formatting, and 8 is adding a table. 9 is adding a formula or an equation if you need to, and 10 is where you would add an embed code. So this is a really important tool if you want to embed content into this box here. That makes it so that students will see the actual content rather than just a link to it. You would grab that embed code from whatever site you are on. So if you, let's say you wanted to add a GIF, there would be an embed code that you would copy, and then you would click on the little cloud and paste it on there. And we'll show you how that works in a few minutes. 11 will give you a list of shortcuts in Canvas. 12 is an accessibility checker. So this tool is really helpful when you're using a screen reader. So let's say, for example, you want to use the immersive reader extension on the Canvas page. When it reads the screen and it gets to some images, instead of reading image 001, the accessibility checker will allow you to change the name of those images so that it says something that makes sense to kids. Instead of image 001, it might say image of a fox on the snow, so that students can actually understand what that picture is. 13 is a word count. 14 is another option to embed content. And 15 is a full screen option, and you can also pull the screen down so that it makes that number one area larger. So now would be a really great time to pause the video and play around with this rich content editor. Practice adding text and links and images. Practice pulling something from your Google Drive. Practice embedding content. If you're not sure how to do some of those things, then you can always go to our digital learning site right here. And if you scroll down a little bit, there's the Canvas Guides link right there, and it'll take you to this page. If you scroll down a little bit, there's a couple of how-to videos here under course creation that tell you how to add links to text and images. That's a very short video, and another video on embedding YouTube videos in Canvas. So you've got a little bit of time here to play around with that rich content editor. I would just pause the video, play around, and when you're ready, then we will talk about how to create an assignment.
All right, now let's take some time to talk about how to create an assignment in Canvas. So I can go back to my module button over here, and I should have my new module that I've built. I come back to the plus sign, just like I did for the page, and this time I'm going to leave it on assignment. I click new assignment, or if I've got other ones already built, I can pull from there, new assignment, and I give it a name, and I add the item. Just like the page, I now have it here in my module. I can click into it. Once I'm in it, then I need to click edit. And the first thing you'll notice when it pops up is you're right back to that rich content editor. You're going to see that in everything. The difference between an assignment and a page is the student submission piece. So if we scroll down, we see all the components for an assignment. So we'll go through these quickly. The first one here is just the points. How many points do I want it worth? The second one is the assignment group. In Canvas, I can group assignments. Maybe I want to group them by quarter, so all of my first quarter, second quarter. Maybe I want them by unit, my first unit, second unit. Maybe I want them by standard. Maybe I don't want a group, and that's totally fine too. So just leave it on assignments. This one will probably stay on points, but you can change how you want to display the grade. There's some different options there. And then if you're creating an assignment that you don't want to count in the final grade, you can check that box. The next one here is where we'll spend a lot of our time, and that is submission type. When I do my drop down here, I have a couple of different options. Back on the slide deck, we've kind of typed them all out for you so you can reference those. The first one is the no submission option. This would be a situation where you want the directions and maybe the rubric to go in Canvas as a part of the module or for students to refer back to, but the students will be turning something physically into you. Maybe it's a poster board, maybe it's some kind of project or a paper pencil activity. You would select no submission in the dropdown, but the student would still have the how-to video or the directions or whatever else they need there in Canvas. The next option is the online option. When you click that, you get a couple of options that open up. If you choose the text entry, that's like giving the kids a text box to type into. So think about if you give an assignment where they have to watch a video or read sections of a chapter book or a textbook, and you want them to answer a question or two. This would be where you would use that. Just check the text entry one. The next option down you have is the website URL. This would be an option if they're working in some other website or tool where they turn something in as a URL. So think about if they're doing a project, maybe they're building a Google site and they turn in their Google site by just giving you the link to it. Maybe it's like a Prezi or some kind of presentation like that. You could also do this if they're writing maybe an essay paper or something on a Google Doc or Google Slides, and they could just submit the link to the Google Slides or Doc there. The media recording option, think about Canvas brand Flipgrid. It doesn't have all the same features of Flipgrid, as in other students can't see it, but if you just want students to record their answer in video, maybe you give them a question and you want to hear them say it instead of type it out, they can record a video and submit that. File uploads would be if there is something that the students have downloaded onto their Chromebook that needs to be re-uploaded into Canvas. Maybe this is a PDF that they download from somewhere, or if a student has taken a picture on their phone and sent it to themselves and download it to their device. Sometimes there's other tools out there, websites that have the students download what they've worked on and then they can re-upload it to Canvas to submit it to you. That's what the online option here. The external tool option down here is where we're going to pull in those external tools, or what you might hear be called LTIs. So when I click on that and I click find, now I have a list of a lot of the tools that we're familiar with. There's Book Creator, Edpuzzle, Flipgrid. There is a Google Cloud assignment, but I would suggest sticking with this Google assignment. And there's how-to videos for all of these too. You don't have to know them all right now. This Google assignment though is kind of nice. If you like the assignment feature in Google Classroom, where you can use a Google file and then have it make a copy for each student, and they submit it, that feature is brought to life here in Canvas using this Google assignment one. You can see Kami, Pear Deck, all types of different ones down through here. This is something that can grow as we go. As you use other digital tools, you might see buttons that say integrate with Canvas or link to Canvas. If you come across any of those and you want to add it, just send Kelly or I a list or the link to it, and we can add it to this list if it's available. So this will probably grow as the years go by. Those are kind of the submission types that you have within Canvas. As I move along down here, I can decide how many attempts I want my students to have. It's default unlimited, but if I change that to limited, and I can give it a number, 1 attempt, 2 attempt, however else you want. The next box down is where it'll sync to PowerSchool. This is the nice thing about Canvas is as I build assignments in Canvas, if I check this box, it's going to be put into my PowerSchool gradebook. We'll have another video on how to set all that up, but just know that that is a really nice option. When you create an assignment in Canvas, it'll put the column in your gradebook. And if you use the speed grader in Canvas, it'll put the scores right into PowerSchool as well. The last one here is very similar to the assign button in Google Classroom. You have the opportunity to assign it to all students, or if you need to specifically assign assignments to groups of students or just single students, you can do that here. You will need to put in a due date. It will require you. It won't let you save without it, but the due date can be the end of the semester or the end of the 9 weeks. When you put in a due date, it'll also add it to the students' to-do lists. So that's helpful too, that the students can know where to go back to. The available from and until boxes are optional. If I put in a due date and it's past the due date, the students will be able to submit it even past the due date, but it will give a flag that says it was turned in late. If I don't want any late work and I only want it available from a certain date to a certain date, that's when I would use this. So if I say I want it available starting this Monday and you must turn it in by Friday, I can put that date as the Friday, then they are not able to submit past that date. Of course, just like with anything else in Canvas, when you're done working, you want to hit save down here. This is not like Google where it just automatically saves. So on pages or in assessments or here on assignments, you need to hit save. The save button here just saves it so you have it. Save and publish would make it published to anyone who's a part of the course. Now, this course that we have created does not have anyone attached to it. So save and publish is just fine. But no matter what, make sure you hit save.
If you ever need to get back to the assignments that you created, the pages you created, or the modules, on the left-hand side here where the navigation is, you can always just click on that and it'll take you right back to whatever you created. Now we have some helpful tools for you. If you ever need any assignment help, or if you need to know how to import content or share content, we've got some quick links here for you that we hope are helpful for you. We also have some of these items on our website. There's also a course checklist here that is a work in progress that might help you as you're creating your course, and some sample buttons and templates that you might find helpful as you're adding course content. Have a great day.